What's up, y'all? Exodus 1, aka In the Ghost Sky, aka Trigger Ranking. Y'all already know who it is. Trigger Man himself. I want y'all to like, subscribe, share. Definitely hit notification bell. Um, if y'all want to support the channel, y'all can hit me up. The cash app is in the description of this channel. Or if you want to go to the top of my description of my channel. You can follow me on any other platforms. With that being said, let's get this show on the road.
You are watching a master at work. You are watching a master at work.
All right, y'all, hold on, Rick. Hold on. Let me see what we got going on here. Making good. What? All right, y'all. So the first video we're gonna do, we gotta do this one. This gonna be an epic one. This gonna be epic. So the first video we're gonna do Bill Gates' wife clapped back after Epstein files released. Trapmore Ross.
Trapmore Gang, one of the most embarrassing absolute meltdowns that we've seen since these Epstein files have come out is that of Microsoft founder Bill Gates. So he's been implicated in the Epstein files in a pretty disgusting way. And this is something that's been rumored to have been going around for years. So about 4 years ago, he did this very embarrassing interview where he basically explained the whole situation away, saying, "Oh, my meetings with Epstein were just it was just charity related." This is 4 whole years ago, right? And there'd always been these rumors about like, did his marriage fall apart? He had a kind of very low key, expensive divorce from his wife Melinda. And there was all these rumors. Was the Bill? Was these Epstein Island allegations anything to do with your divorce? He just kind of swept it under the rug and just tried to move on from it. But the reality is, he was apparently getting busy on that island. He was getting so busy on that island, he was catching diseases. All right. So look, let's just hear how he said it about 4 years ago, and then we're going to find out how this tune changed drastically with the recent leaks.
That time that you
So they saying that Bill Gates' wife caught a disease because he was cheating with girls on Epstein Island. What the fuck is going on, bro? Like what?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
It's crazy.
a number of meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, who, when you met him 10 years ago, he was convicted of soliciting prostitution from minors. What did you know about him when you were meeting with him, as you've said yourself, in the hopes of raising money?
I had dinners with him. I regret doing that. He had relationships with.
You know what's crazy? I'm no criminal psychologist, but like the way that he pulls at his wedding ring finger, and you notice there's no ring on it anymore. I think this is just a classic tell. He's definitely just riddled with anxiety, riddled with shame and guilt. You can tell he doesn't want to answer the question, and he's clutching his ring finger. I feel like that's a very, very telling kind of little just display of guilt from Bill Gates, man. And he knows that this is exactly what ruined his marriage. This is why he doesn't have a ring on his finger. This is why his wife hates him. It's actually very sad to see.
Raising money.
I had dinners with him. I regret doing that. He had relationships with people he said, would give to global health, which is a interest I have. Not nearly enough philanthropy goes in that direction. Those meetings were a mistake. They didn't result in what he purported, and I cut them off. That goes back a long time ago now. So there's nothing new on that.
It was reported that you continue to meet with him over several years. and that, in other words, a number of meetings. What did you do when you found out about his background?
Well,
in 2026, something incredibly rare will happen. There will be 3 Fridays the 13th in the same year. This only happens once every 89 years. And when it does, it's never just a coincidence. My name is Kristen. I'm 79 years old. And for over 50 years, I've been guided by beings of light to help people understand the hidden messages shaping their lives. And today, I feel called to share something important with you, because this triple Friday the 13th energy, it's not superstition. It's a powerful astral window, a vibrational opening that can either unblock your life
Ryan?
or make your current struggles even harder.
and I've said I regretted having those dinners, and there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead, so
Chilling, watching videos, man, just on YouTube, just fucking around.
In general, you always have to be careful, and I'm
He's gassed. He said he in a pack now. So he's smoking his ass. He dead. He can't say shit. He gone.
very proud of what we've done in philanthropy, very proud of the work of the foundation. And that's what I get up every day and focus on.
That is crazy, right? That is crazy. Unfortunately, the comments are turned off on this, and they would have been an absolute horror show. But what's interesting, okay, the timeline of the Bill Gates, Jeffrey Epstein link up, all right, the dynamic duo, okay, this goes back a hell of a long time, okay? This is an article from Newsweek about their timeline and of their relationship, and this goes all the way back to 2011. Now, this was published in 2021 before we knew the recent allegations, but this was pretty interesting, right? And it says Melinda Gates is said to have warned Bill Gates to stay away from Jeffrey Epstein after.
So his wife told him, stay away from that nigga.
Comment with the convicted offender in 2013 in New York. The Microsoft founder and his wife announced they filed for divorce last week, and the Wall Street Journal reported the separation of the 25-year marriage was in the works since at least 2019. Melinda Gates was reportedly haunted by her husband's connection with the convicted PDF financier who died by suicide after he was jailed in 2019.
Somebody said,
reached out to represent it.
Somebody said, what cracking, cuz?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Nah, I ain't no gang member or nothing, bro. Like, I'm a civilian, bro. I like the apparel. I like the clothes. I like the Dodger shit. Yeah, I love LA, bro. That's my shit, bro. That's my shit. I love LA, bro. Love LA. I love LA. I love New York. I love Florida. That's where I'm from. But yeah.
The New York Times reports that Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein met numerous times over the years, starting from 2011. Here is the timeline of their relationship. Look at these fools. Look at these just potato-headed fools, right? He's been overcooked, he's been undercooked. But anyway, this is Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein reportedly first met in January 2011 in New York City. On the occasion, Gates and Epstein were joined by Dr. Eva Andersson Dubin, a former Miss Sweden who was dating and her 15-year-old daughter. Yikes. Yikes. I don't even want to speculate on what was going on with that. The New York Times also sent an email about Epstein to colleagues in 2011 saying his lifestyle is very different and kind of intriguing, although it would not work for me. He also said that he stayed late into the night on this occasion, writing in the email, a very attractive Swedish woman and her daughter dropped by. I ended up staying there quite late. All right. However, Bill Gates spokesperson Bridget Arnold told the newspaper that the email was in no way meant to convey a sense of interest or approval. Cap. She said that Gates was referring only to the unique decor of the Epstein residence. Sure thing. You think we're dumb as fuck, don't you? And Epstein's habit of spontaneously bringing acquaintances in to meet Mr. Gates. Arnold also said of this meeting, Gates recognizes that entertaining Epstein's ideas related to philanthropy gave Epstein an undeserved platform that was at odds with Gates' personal values and the values of his foundation. The two men met again in 2011 on May the 3rd and were photographed along with James E. Staley, at the time a senior JP Morgan executive, and former Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers and Boris Nikolic, who was the Bill and Melinda Gates
Yeah, that's a good
Foundation's
question.
science advisor. Now,
Hold on, yeah, that's a good question. It's if I go back and give myself advice as a kid, um, probably the best advice I probably could give myself as a kid, like, just to be honest, uh, just be self-sufficient. Depend on yourself. Don't depend on anybody else to make it work for you. You gotta make it. You gotta make it work for you. Like that's what I'm saying. That's
Bill and Melinda Gates met with Epstein in his Upper East Side mansion in September 2013, according to the Daily Beast. 2013 was 4 years after Epstein was sentenced to prison for soliciting a minor under the age of 18 for sex. The meeting was reportedly on the same day that the couple accepted the Lasker Bloomberg Public Service Award at the Pierre Hotel in New York City. In the same year, Bill Gates is reported to have flown with Epstein on his private jet from New Jersey to Palm Beach, Florida. That plane is the infamous Lolita Express that gained notoriety due to it being purposely designed for mid-air sex, as per The Sun.
mid-air sex.
Gross.
What?
2018, Bill Gates' meetings with Epstein were publicized and reported on in 2018, prompting a spokesperson for the tech mogul to say at the time that the meetings had focused on philanthropy.
Man, this shit is horrible, bro. Like 3 million pages, like that's a lot of pages, bro. Shit that you did, like 3 million, like that's a lot. And they said 6 million altogether. 3 million, 3 million was redacted. 3 million was released. That's horrible.
I met him. I didn't have any business relationship or friendship with him, Gates told the Wall Street Journal in 2019. I didn't go to New Mexico or Florida or Palm Beach or any of that. Are you sure? He explained. There were people around him who were saying, hey, if you want to raise money for global health or get more philanthropy, he knows a lot of rich people. The same spokesman told Insider that in 2019, Epstein misrepresented the nature of his meetings with Gates while also working to insert himself behind the scenes without Gates' knowledge. And that Gates and Epstein never socialized together, and that the disgraced financier actively pursued a relationship with her client. Bill Gates regrets ever meeting with Epstein and recognizes it was an error in judgment.
Man, they got everybody in this shit. They got Elon Musk, Jay-Z, there's just a lot of people in this shit.
Do so, Arnold said. Gates recognizes that entertaining Epstein's ideas related to philanthropy gave Epstein an undeserved platform that was at odds with Gates' personal values and the values of his foundation. On August the 10th, 2019, Epstein died by suicide, wink, at the Metropolitan Correction.
He died by suicide, bro. I don't even know if this man is really even dead, bro. This man might be still alive on the island somewhere where nobody can see him or find him.
Center in New York City following his arrest on
Allegedly.
federal charges for the trafficking of minors in Florida and New York. In September 2019, Bill Gates told the Wall Street Journal of Epstein, I didn't have any business relationship or friendship with him. Now, in 2021, Bill and Melinda Gates announced their divorce in May. Over the last 27 years, we've raised 3 incredible children, built a foundation that works all over the world to enable all people to lead healthy and productive lives, said in a joint statement. We continue to share a belief in that mission and will continue our work together at that foundation, but we no longer believe...
Hey, where y'all tapping in from? Everybody tell me where y'all tapping in from.
Timeline suspiciously ends. But jump forward to 2024, okay? In the earlier Epstein file drops, not even this recent hot off the presses drop, Bill Gates would be present in some very suspect photos. This was going around a little while ago in r/Epstein. Shout out to them. There's always a subreddit. Why not in r/Epstein?
So somebody said they'll like and subscribe if I rap. Man, watch out. Watch out.
So you're going to get that. It says Microsoft founder Bill Gates pictured with a girl in the new Epstein photo release. Now, I can't see her face, but you see the skirt, you see the button-up shirt. All types of wrong, okay? We're going to need to reboot this Windows right now and run in safe mode because this guy is a horror show. It says, look at her awkward body language. Creep. It's not looking good for Gates. All billionaires are trash. People saying, I suspect this is the real reason these people...
I ain't gonna lie. If I was a billionaire, I wouldn't be trash, though. If I was a billionaire, I would not be trash.
will hold their money long
If I
enough.
was a millionaire, I wouldn't be trash.
They could possibly need anything more in life. We think it must be some mental compulsion, but in reality, it's that they need the continued power to protect them from all the horrible shit they've done and continue to do. Like, they literally can't retire without risking being held accountable. Bill Gates is an easy target now because he has very little actual power. He mostly divested of Microsoft, and the divorce probably hit hard too. Most of his political capital is all in his foundation, which is more PR than firm power. Had he stayed in control of Microsoft, he'd have one of the largest companies in the world to use and buy and trade favors. That's why Bezos, Musk, etc. aren't going anywhere. They will continue. They will never give up their wealth because it's the source of their power, and the power keeps them.
A person who lives their faith well is someone who lives by God's word. That's why you need to read scripture regularly daily.
All I can figure is Gates was too old school to realize this. He was operating like a Rockefeller or Carnegie, where you make your fortune and then run out the clock with PR, so you go into the grave a good guy with a lasting legacy. The new model is never retire and go to your grave with all your secrets secure. His legacy is in the toilet, okay? It's in the toilet. Now, obviously, that was 2024 when this embarrassing pictograph, let's call it pictograph, photograph or a picture, but now we're in 2026 and more serious allegations have emerged regarding Bill Gates in the newly released DOJ files. Basically, this was going around a few days ago. It says, in the newly released DOJ files, Jeffrey Epstein says Bill Gates caught an STD and requested antibiotics so he could secretly give to his wife, Melinda Gates. Crazy. Also mentioned stepping away from Bill and for asking him to engage in things that get near and potentially over the line into illegal. You're such a weirdo and creep that Jeffrey Epstein is saying he's got to step away from you because you're pushing him over to the line in things that are nearly illegal. Absolutely wild. So I'll read you the email if you haven't already read it. It says, Dear Bill, Billy, man, Billy. Dear Bill, I cannot believe that you have chosen, okay? I cannot believe that you have chosen to both disregard and discard our friendship. Decided to discharge me from my job, had Larry, your PR person, tell me that I engaged in morally inappropriate behavior, and then asked me to be a major actor in a cover-up so you can... Shortly after my critical eye operation, I spent my day having your emails read to me as so not to miss a beat. When I could see out of one eye, my first task was to correct my vision in that one eye so I could read them myself. I assumed the dedication to our relation ran both ways. Larry has now asked me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement and have categorically told me that you are of the firm mind that we should no longer have any direct ongoing business relationship with a total disregard for its impact on the public perception of my reputation. You have
This is crazy, y'all. This is crazy.
I said that I diligently avoid the truth. Tell people that Bill will not invest with me and craft an answer that suits yours and Melinda's needs. In fairness, you did agree to send a letter of recommendation should a future employer ask for one. You have told me that Melinda insists on me ignoring our friendship, not even communicating with you unless Larry, is copied or present. Though you have consistently maintained that I could not have done a better job and that I was underpaid compared to my contribution, you then, beyond all sense of fairness and frankly decency, said that as generous compensation for keeping the Gates reputation intact, you would let me keep what we agreed I had already owned, the investment participations, and give me a total of 2 years severance.
Man, we're gonna go to something else, bro, because this is We're gonna do Panda Press, y'all. We'll do Panda Press. All right, y'all. We about to do Panda Press. Y'all go check his channel out. Panda.
Yes!
I love this game. iExcel is actually a learning app that helps them excel in math, science,
We own both schools, by the way, not one, two. We own 4 buildings. We own the block. Name somebody else in the Black Conscious community who bought a whole block. Nobody. I'm the only one.
Do you see me laughing, mother? You know that 2016
Somebody say, I'm bald.
2026 comparison people keep making, where nothing looks the way it was supposed to? Yeah.
Hey, my girl love my bald headed ass. She love my bald head. I'm bald as a whistle. My girl love me though. Motherfucker. Stop playing. Right, goofy ass.
This is one of those situations.
Clown me.
Because if someone told you we're almost there in 2016 and they're still saying it in 2026, that's not hope. That's a cycle.
So that was a lie.
When I line that up with what Dr. Umar Johnson has been saying over the years, nah, that contrast got uncomfortable real quick. Urgency doesn't last 10 years. Promises don't age that well. So today, I'm not breaking down numbers or paperwork. I'm breaking down what happens when a decade passes and the story never changes. The first thing that happens when you line up 2016 next to 2026, your brain glitches a little because 2016 doesn't feel that long ago. 10 years sounds abstract until you put the words side by side. Then suddenly it's not abstract at all. It's a mirror. I'm not even talking about outcomes yet. Just the sound of the language, the tone, the urgency. Stuff that felt charged in 2016 felt like movement, momentum, pressure. In 2026, it lands different. It's not wrong, it's not illegal, it's just older. And that's the uncomfortable part. Because time doesn't accuse you, it just shows you what stayed the same. Once you notice that shift, you can't unhear it. Everything else starts sounding recycled. Let's be real, we're almost there is one of the most powerful phrases ever. It doesn't promise a date, it doesn't lock you into specific.
No, that ain't me. That's Panda Press. I'm reacting to the actual video. Yeah, that's Panda Press. That's not me talking. Yeah, that's Panda Press.
But it keeps people leaning forward. In year 1, that phrase is fuel. It tells people don't leave yet. In year 2 or 3, it still works. Because progress is supposed to be messy. People expect delays, and leaders know this. Movements are built on anticipation, not delivery. Anticipation keeps donations, attention, loyalty flowing. The problem isn't the phrase. The problem is how long the phrase stays in rotation. Because language designed for the beginning was never meant to carry a decade. Every phrase has a shelf life, motivation included. There's a point where encouragement stops energizing and starts buffering. Same words, same tone, different year. What used to sound like leadership starts sounding like delay management, and nobody wants to admit that, because admitting it means admitting time passed without the shift you were promised. So instead of updating the language, people defend it. That's when motivation expires. Not because it was fake, but because it outlived its purpose. Here's where things get sneaky. Nobody ever announces that accountability is gone. It just fades. Early on, accountability sounds like deadlines. Next year, we should be here. But as time stretches, those checkpoints disappear.
Halfway.
Not all at once, slowly, politely, quietly.
Suddenly the conversation changes.
Conversation isn't about when anymore. It's about why it's complicated. Context replaces clarity, and context is slippery because context can always be expanded. There's always another reason, another obstacle, another enemy. So instead of answering the calendar, leaders end up debating circumstances. That's how time becomes the shield. Not lies, not deception, just delay. There's a moment every long-running movement hits. You can hear it in the language. Early years sound like building, plans, vision, what's coming next.
like defense, explanations, pushback. They're trying to stop us. Progress talk is forward facing. Survival talk is reactive. And once survival becomes the main theme, everything changes. Criticism isn't feedback anymore. It's an attack. Questions only shift from creating something new to protecting what already exists. Because real progress invites questions. Stagnation needs enemies. Let's talk incentives. Because time doesn't hit everyone the same. For supporters, long timelines cost hope, energy, patience. For leaders, long timelines can actually be comfortable. The longer something takes, the harder it is for people to walk away. That's sunk cost. Not just money, identity. People don't just support projects. They support stories they're part of. And after 10 years, leaving doesn't feel neutral. It feels like admitting something painful. So the longer the timeline, the more it gets locked in. Not because things are working, but because people don't want 10 years to mean nothing. There's a difference between consistency and repetition, and time is what exposes which one you're dealing with. Consistency means the message evolves as reality evolves. Repetition means the message stays the same because reality did not. When you hear the exact same explanations in year 8 that you heard in year 2, something off.
Show me how unserious you are.
At first, people mistake frozen narratives for stability. They think, at least the vision hasn't changed, but that's backwards. Vision is supposed to sharpen over time. Language is supposed to mature. When nothing changes in how a story is told, it usually means the story is being used to cover a lack of movement. Real progress forces uncomfortable updates. It creates new problems that replace old excuses. Frozen narratives exist to avoid that discomfort. They keep everything familiar, predictable, safe. And the longer a narrative stays frozen, the harder it becomes to admit that it should have changed. This shift does not happen overnight. It happens quietly. The project feels like criticized there, not because it cannot be completed, but because completion would shift attention away from the brand. When a movement turns into a personal brand, momentum matters more than milestones. The goal becomes staying relevant, not arriving. That's when movements stop moving forward and start revolving around one identity.
Well, as I said, we finished. The renovations are done. We got to dot a couple I's and cross a couple T's, and then we have to go for inspection with the city of Wilmington, Delaware. We don't know what's going to happen with that because they never thought we would finish. Now that we're done, we now got to fight them. Because remember, they tried to sell the school behind our backs this past summer.
Oh, Lord. Again. Again. Nothing new, nothing changed, same old shit.
This part matters because it explains why debates around long timelines get emotional. Waiting for years is not passive. It's an investment of belief. Time becomes part of someone's identity. I've been here since the beginning stops being a statement and starts being a badge. So questioning outcomes feels personal. It feels like saying the wait was pointless, and nobody wants to sit with that thought. Defending the story becomes easier than confronting disappointment. Hope becomes something to protect, not examine. This is why the strongest defenders are usually the longest supporters. Not because they are blind, but because they are invested. Time raises the emotional cost of doubt, and that cost keeps people loyal longer than results ever could. That's why long timelines don't just test leaders, they test the people who believe. There comes a point where spreadsheets stop helping, arguments get circular, receipts get debated, but time does. 3, after 10 comes the story. That's when the calendar turns into evidence. Not evidence of intent, evidence of outcome. Because time measures what actually moved, not what was planned, not what was promised. That's why people eventually stop asking how much and start asking how long. 10 years is long enough for excuses to age, long enough for reality to speak without raising its voice.
I just saying to you, for the person that needs to hear this today, your heart will heal.
Enough for reality to speak without raising its voice. At that point, the calendar tells you more than any argument ever could.
We had a vacant property registration fee bill that we should not have even owed because as a nonprofit, you're supposed to get a 4-year waiver. They didn't give it to us, right? I called them up to see if we can come to some type of an agreement. If you're not going to give it to us, say that and let us.
Stop it! Denial is a river in Egypt.
After a decade, the question changes. It's no longer what's the plan or what went wrong. It becomes something quieter, something heavier. What exactly are we waiting for now? Not emotionally, structurally. What condition has not been met yet? What box is still unchecked? What moment are we circling? Because if the answer is vague, then the destination probably is too. 10 years removes the benefit of the doubt, not out of malice, out of clarity. It forces people to confront whether the delay is temporary or permanent by design. Here's the part people don't expect. 2016 felt urgent because the future was wide open. Anything still felt possible. 2026 feels heavy because possibility has a history now. You are no longer imagining outcomes. You are comparing it. That's why this comparison hurts. Not because of failure, because of contrast. People are not upset that something took time. They are unsettled by how familiar everything still sounds. When 10 years pass and the language feels unchanged, it forces a realization nobody rushes toward, that maybe the waiting was not a phase. Maybe it was the structure. This is why I didn't want to argue numbers today, because money debates turn into teams. Receipts turn into noise. But time...
Listen to this, y'all. Hey, y'all check out fanaticz, but I'm about to go to Urban Noise. Urban Noise. Oh. Urban Nori. The Urban Nori. Let's see what they got going on. That's so bad.
Kidnapping. We in America are misinformed. I've warped our idea of what a hero is, or what the truth is.
If you take people like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living keeping our people, so how the fuck they gonna stand up? You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, they told the truth by anything. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars. You know, if you look at an interview from me from 10 years ago, everybody says, I love that interview. People didn't love it back then, though, because I was speaking to the future. I'm 10 years ahead mentally, and I'm trapped in today's time. And every now and then I crack you a smile for 2013, but I'm cracking you a frown for 2023. And I'm focused on what it's gonna be. Just mark my words, as I'm Kanye West, you've seen my execution.
There's no vindication for me, because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Beyonce and Jay-Z are linked to Allen. What?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z.
Facing divorce, and it sucks, and I know it sucks because I've been through it myself. I went through a divorce before I became...
I ain't gotta worry about no divorce.
It's set in
My old lady want me forever.
Kanye West just exposed Jay-Z for allegedly trying to flee the country. And the timing is suspicious as hell, because he tried running right after his name was dropped in the new 3 million Epstein FBI files. Now here's the crazy part. Kanye literally tried to warn us about this. He's been saying for years that Jay and Joe were paying millions to bury secrets. But did anyone listen? Nope. We all thought he was just spiraling. Now, in case you're out of the loop on the recent developments in the Epstein case, the FBI finally released all the files after people literally pressured them to do so. And the names on the files are much worse than we thought. Even though Jeffrey was caught all the way back in 2006, people have not forgotten the things he has been accused of, and they've been demanding that everyone in those files be exposed. Investigations into Epstein actually started in March 2005 in Palm Beach, Florida, after the family of a girl reported that she was SA'd at his mansion. Multiple girls, many of them high school students, later came out to say the same thing, and that's when things really took off. Fast forward to July 2006. Epstein was arrested after a grand jury indicted him, and after years of back and forth, and even some allegations about Epstein receiving special treatment, he pleaded in June 2008, but by July 2009, it was already out again. You cannot make this up. But as you can already expect, his victim 17, Epstein and his girlfriend Ghislaine Maxwell set up encounters with royalty, politicians, businessmen, including Prince Andrew. He was later again on July 9, 2019, on federal charges after prosecutors in New York concluded they aren't bound by the terms of the earlier non-prosecution deal. And then on August 10, 2019, guards found Epstein in federal jail in New York City. Apparently, he took his own life. But remember what I said about people demanding his files to be released to the public? Well, that never stopped. And after years of the FBI trying everything they could to hide, it was finally released. And to absolutely no one's surprise, a bunch of celebrities were involved. But get this, there was a particular name that had everyone shocked. And that name was Jay-Z. So according to the details in the film, an anonymous victim said she was drugged and...
I fuck with you, bro. Hey. Bro, hey, that motherfucker. Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Hey, bro, when this man came here and called me an Ewok, bro, I couldn't do nothing but laugh, bro. That shit was so funny, bro. I was like, bro.
With Pusha T as a handler. And when she woke up,
like, what you got going on? But hey, bro, you my dog, bro. Hey, I fuck with you, man.
Jay-Z
Thank
and
you for
Harvey
coming
were in
through
the
to
room.
the channel.
Now, she never said for sure if Jay-Z actually participated in the say, and baby,
Oh, I'm
the
good,
moment this
man.
mess got on the
Everything good,
internet,
man. Just chilling, bro. Just doing a live, chilling, bro. That's it. Ain't doing nothing else, bro. Having fun, freestyling, watching videos and shit on live.
a lot of people started dragging the hell out of Jay-Z because he was the last person anyone was expecting. I mean, yes, people speculated that he was part of Diddy's entourage, but never in a million years did he was. And while we are on the topic of Diddy, this video resurfaced of Jay-Z looking nervous. And according to online allegedly recording with his ring, a conversation he was having with Diddy during one of those Rock Nations they used to have every...
Somebody said, oh shit. It say, you get the notification. That's cool.
year till Diddy got arrested. Anyway, let's just assume that Jay didn't actually do anything to that girl. Why was he at... No matter how you try to flip it, it doesn't look good for him at all. And this just made people even more convinced Diddy, Epstein, and Harvey Weinstein. These men don't allow anyone in their circle unless those people are down and okay with the things they do.
We seen Diddy go down, we seen R. Kelly. Why does Jay-Z keep slipping through the cracks? That's the guy I'm waiting for. You're sending everybody to jail with Jay-Z, the damn ringleader. People brave enough to call this guy out is 50 Cent and Nicki Minaj. Where you at, Charlamagne? Say something. Where you at, Shade Room? What? Shade Room don't want to... They deleting posts now? What are you afraid of? Who is this guy? Oh, that's right, he's a criminal. Didn't he stab his brother or something? And he's selling drugs, the kingpin. Self-admitted, by the way. That's why he's scared. So why does the NFL work with him? Why you got him doing the Super Bowl? Yeah, freaking Kendrick Lamar. This weirdo hopping up that stage, man.
That nigga said nobody knows Kendrick Lamar, bro. You sound like a goofy. You sound like a goofy right now, nigga. This nigga said nobody knows Kendrick Lamar. Bro, what are you talking Bro, what are you talking about?
You know all this noise? The music is trash. And now you got Bad Bunny, you gonna have Travis kissing boys on stage at the Super Bowl? I'm just waiting for...
I can't even. I can't even.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
These days, boy. Now he's popping up in the you-know-what files. Come on now. What more do you need? You saw the music he had Foxy Brown singing when she was 16 years old.
I thought Foxy was like 16. That's all I'm saying.
It sounds like you.
All I'm saying is in this industry when we live.
It seems like you got a question for Jay.
This guy keeps slipping through the cracks. I'm just waiting for J-Day.
And just when we thought things couldn't get any worse, people began pulling out receipts of some celebrities seemingly exposing not just Jay-Z, but even Beyonce of being involved with Epstein. And of course, Kanye was right there on that list. This video resurfaced of him blatantly accusing Jay-Z and Pusha T of doing some alleged illegal things that could land them in jail if they were exposed. The fact that he even brought up Pusha, only for Pusha to be mentioned right along with Jay by the same victim, is very telling.
If you take people like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they make their living keeping our people. So how the fuck they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, oh, Beyonce had the best fit for somebody else? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, they told the truth, right? And they didn't go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars. Liars are now the face of our culture.
The comedian Corey Holcomb also made some wild allegations, accusing Jay-Z and Beyonce of allegedly taking out people on the Epstein Islands for rituals.
I think it is highly offensive for people who are smart enough to really know what's happening. Look, y'all talk about R. Kelly. Beyonce was on that island where they was kids.
Damn!
Hi, let me tell you 3 things I can do because of Jesus Christ. 1.
Beyonce and the camel.
Yeah. They said she was in there like, uh-oh.
Right.
I hope I can go see her again.
She was singing and look, if you like it, put your mouth on it. This is what I'm saying. It's like you give her a pass. You give her a pass. She can have a concert and everything after she's a known participant on Pedo Island. It's like people want to dismiss it. That's why you can't tell me nothing about what the media say about nobody.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the media is going to make a bad guy out of whoever they want to be the bad guy.
And while we are on the topic of alleged rituals being had, let's get into this video from 2024 of MIA claiming that Jay-Z and Beyonce pressured her to undergo plastic surgery and participate in satanic rituals that included drenching herself in red fluid, covering herself in black goo.
The first thing you want to do is get plastic surgery. People make it, they all can turn around and thank Beyonce because that and enough is enough can come in for everyone now. And even Adele, when she gets an award, she thanks Beyonce. Oh, I didn't want to drip myself in blood and cover myself and swim in goop, in black goop, and fucking like wear devil horns to fucking sell a record. But that, all be a witch, all be that, all of that. All of them.
And to absolutely no one's surprise, 50 Cent also jumped in with his own allegations. He said he is even planning to do a massive documentary about Jay, just like the one he did with Diddy. And y'all already know that if 50 says he'll do something, he'll do it.
50 Cent has finally responded to Jay-Z and Pusha T being exposed in the Epstein files. For those of you guys that don't know, last night it was publicly revealed to the entire world that Pusha T and Jay-Z were both revealed to be in the Epstein files, with them being accused of doing very disturbing and nasty things. For Pusha T specifically, he was claimed in 2007 to have been with Harvey Weinstein, where he then ended up accusing a woman. And as for Jay-Z, his accusations are also very disturbing, with him being accused of doing something to a girl while she was sleeping. And with all of this coming out, 50 Cent couldn't waste the opportunity to go at his nemesis Jay-Z by basically making fun of him all posting to his Instagram page, which were just very weird AI photos of Jay-Z. And then 50 Cent also hinted that he is planning on doing a massive documentary with this entire situation and exposing Jay-Z, with the caption of this post saying, "Damn, they got Jay-Z on the Epstein list. I gotta do a doc on this." And 50 didn't stop there, because then he posted another photo of the headline of this entire situation breaking out, with him just pointing more jokes and fun at Jay-Z.
Now, while everyone was dragging Jay-Z, there were still some celebrities who were working overtime to defend. In fact, you'll not believe this, but just minutes after the Shade Room posted about Jay-Z being on the list, they took the post down with no follow-up post about it. Word on the street is they got a call from some powerful people to do it, and they obeyed.
The Shade Room just posted this and immediately took it down. It's no longer on their page. I just screenshotted it because I was going through my stuff, and when I went to look at the comments, it was like unable to load. They took the post down.
Girl, even Lizzo and DJ Academics got themselves involved too, and they defended really bad. She was just accused of SA herself. So the fact that she thinks anyone wants to hear her opinion on SA, especially when she's defending a person who allegedly.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He did the essaying is crazy. Like, she could have just kept her mouth shut.
One more thing before I go into glam. This Epstein file shit, I have to, it's really frustrating to me, because there are 3 million files, right? 3 million documents in the files, because over...
It's 6 million. It's only 3 million that was released to us.
The course of however long this man has been doing these crimes, every email, every text message, everything, just in general about this man's life, has been put into these files to scan for every text message you sent to somebody. Okay. If you stole an apple from Walmart and you is every person in your phone, is every email you sent to a person or speaking about a person, does that make that person complicit? Does that make that person a bad guy? No, it doesn't. And that's the same thing with the Diddy stuff. That was so, I told y'all.
Yeah, that's she wild on that one. Hey, but y'all check. Alright, we're going to Law and Crime. But check out Law and Crime channel.
Emerging in the millions of pages related to the Jeffrey Epstein saga that are being released by the Department of Justice. But this is a name you probably haven't heard before. Karina Shuliak. Now, she's not a victim. She's not a co-conspirator. Her name surfaces instead in Epstein's final phone call from jail in an apparent one that was set to give her essentially a huge portion of his fortune and his properties and a diamond ring. Who is she? What do these documents reveal about Epstein's final plans? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. All right, before we go any further, I gotta say something. Look, I think family is the greatest achievement, but it is very scary for those out there to think, I know life insurance is not something to think about. Nobody wants to think about it, but this year, you gotta take care of it. And having a policy that can protect your family, that will give you peace of mind. Fabric by Gerber Life is term life insurance you can get done today. It is made for busy parents like you, online, on your schedule, right from your couch, by the way. You can be covered in 10 minutes. There's no even health exam that's required. So if you got a family, the time to lock in one of Fabric's policies is right now. They are high quality, flexible to fit your family's budget, and you can join thousands of parents who trust Fabric to protect their family. Apply today in minutes at meetfabric.com/sidebar, MEET, fabric.com/sidebar. It's a name that surfaced at the edges, buried for years beneath layers of redaction and different documents. And now we have millions of pages released by the Department of Justice, documents tied to one of the most disturbing sagas in modern criminal history. And right now, I want to talk about one woman in particular. But it's something different. According to the New York Times, she was the last known confidant of Jeffrey Epstein, the woman that he apparently called just hours before he was found in his jail cell. And that woman, according to the records, is Carissa 2 days before he died. And this document appears to place her at the center of his final financial plans. Outlines an
Damn. So as soon as they got the plans together, okay.
Extraordinary
On
bequest.
with the stream.
More than
goofy
$100
ass.
million was set to go to her. And also, his private...
Somebody said my streams are pointless. Bruh, on with the stream.
Mansion, a 33-carat diamond ring described in Epstein's own handwriting as given in contemplation of marriage? So who is Shuliak? Well, the Times reports that Shuliak is a Belarusian immigrant, a dentist, a woman who remained close to Epstein during his final days in custody. This is, by the way, when much of the world had turned away. She's almost invisible in the official record because everybody talks about Ghislaine Maxwell, but when you read these financial documents, she is central to his life, central to the future that Epstein appeared to be planning. And the questions now surrounding her, the mystery, that are even Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, congratulating Jeffrey Epstein on the birth of a baby boy in 2011. A diary entry from a teenage victim who writes that she was made to feel like a human incubator for what Epstein allegedly described as his superior gene pool. This is all incredibly unsettling. We're trying to unpack as much as we can from the Epstein saga and this deep dive into what his life was about and the questions that still linger. I mean, what else don't we know about Jeffrey Epstein and the world that he left behind? So if you're just joining us, or even if you've been following this whole thing from the very beginning, just want to lay out for everyone what's going on so we're all on the same page. For years, the name Jeffrey Epstein meant a few things to the public. Funny of it all, that was locked up. It was sealed. It was hidden in vaults, redacted files. Now that changed, or at least started to change with what's been called the Epstein dump. It wasn't one big reveal. It was a slow court-ordered trickle of documents released under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Millions of pages, emails, flight logs, depositions, police reports, financial records. A lot of it is exactly what you would expect. Disturbing, suggestive, grim, procedural, and it kind of lays out what this guy's life was like and who he was talking to. But in that mountain of paper, we have started to uncover threads that appear to deviate from the main story here. Threads that pointed beyond the criminal activity or the alleged criminal activity towards what he was building, who he was protecting, what he intended to leave behind. And that is where we get to Carissa Shuliak, because she wasn't in the headlines about the victims or the trial. She wasn't Ghislaine Maxwell. Her name popped up in the financial documents, a trust, a will, the asset lists, the stuff that deals not with the past, but with the future. What Epstein planned. And one of the biggest funds that we have uncovered is a document called the 1953 Trust. It was dated August 8th, 2019. Now, Epstein signed it while he was in jail, right? This is as he was awaiting trial on federal sex crimes charges, sex trafficking. And then 2 days later, after he signed it, he's dead. And the document was basically his blueprint for what happened to his empire, valued at over $600 million at the time after he was gone. By the way, we knew about this document. It was referenced in his will, which was publicized. It was mentioned in litigation over the years, but we really didn't know the exact content of it and what it shows us. It was kind of a secret. So this is big. And right there at the very top of the beneficiary list, Carissa Shuliak. set to receive more money than anybody else, plus all of his iconic properties. And according to Business Insider, this document superseded an earlier trust from just January of that year, which had named apparently someone else at the top of the beneficiary list. So that document, which they say was called the Jeffrey E. Epstein 2019 Trust, it's actually no longer available on the DOJ site, by the way. We actually tried to find it, we couldn't. But Business Insider says they saw it, and so that would mean between January and August, something changed dramatically. Now that is the document trail that led us to her, and it raised immediate questions. Who was this person who suddenly became the centerpiece of his final plans? What was their relationship? What does her prominence to these files tell us about Epstein's inner world that we don't fully understand? What did she know? So we're gonna get to all of that with our guests, but first, let me just quickly run through what we seem to know about Shuliak from the public record. So the basic facts before we dive into the documents themselves. What do we know about her? Well, if you were to sketch a profile from the public reporting from outlets like the New York Times, Business Insider, The Independent, here's the picture that comes together. She's a Belarusian immigrant. She came to the United States in 2009 when she was about 20. She entered Epstein's life not long after, which is interesting, right? Because that was right after he was convicted in Florida for sex crimes. And this is, again, when a lot of his old social circle had peeled away. In fact, a source quoted by the Daily Mail claimed that her willingness to stand by him after his initial disgrace, that only strengthened their relationship. Now, she was trained as a dentist. The Independent reports Epstein actually helped pay her way through dental school at Columbia University. She was licensed in Florida and California. She was even linked to a dental office in St. Thomas that shared an address with one of Epstein's shell companies, which is interesting, by the way. Showed an image of a dentist, what that was, but it does make you think, does this have anything to do with Shuliak if she's a dentist? I mean, you gotta wonder if there's some sort of correlation there considering her profession. But here's the thing, for much of their alleged decade-long relationship, and I don't know if it was on again, off again, or what the circumstances were, Shuliak was actually married to another woman in Epstein's world. I'm talking about Jennifer Callan. Their wedding was in 2013, and lawyers for Epstein's victims have alleged that his network used sham same-sex marriages to help status and citizenship to keep it all under the radar. And Shuliak and Callan, they divorced in 2019.
That's crazy. Same-sex marriage to get in the country. Hey, y'all kicking me in the Karma Cafe. I want y'all to like, subscribe, share, definitely hit notification bell. If y'all like to donate to the channel, Cash App is in the description of this video. If you want to follow me on any other platforms, everything is at the top of the description. Hey man, I love y'all. Peace and one.